All right, so this is Math 161 pre-calculus. It's asynchronous, which means it's not like when we were doing virtual. It's there's no real lecture. I have done some stuff. So let me show you. I'm going to share the screen so you can see what's happening. So in Brightspace, oh, you don't need to see that. In Brightspace, you have your you go to the Brightspace page, right, with our class. And in it, you have the content. Now you have to be a lot more active about keeping on top of things here. So the first thing is it's set up by weeks. This is a 6-week class, right? And if you want to look at the syllabus, you can go to I believe it's under course content. I don't know. I never use under syllabus. It'll have the syllabus here, which you can download and look at, and has the percentages and what you have to do each week, that kind of stuff, in the grading, that sort of thing. And then I always go to content here when I go like this. So now under content, under this part here, this is the book. If you just want to download it as a PDF, you can go here and you can just download the book that we're going to use, which, since there's technically no lecture for an online class, you're expected to read more of it to understand what's going on. So that's one way you can access the book. Another way, I put a few different ways in here. Another way is goes to the website, because the book is free and you can download it. You can view it online, download it, and if you want to pay some money, you can order a print copy. This is the table of contents. So this goes to the website. All right. And let's see, let me move this out of the way. All right. So then what else do I have? This is the old book that we used to use, because one thing about learning math is just practice. And so the more places to read and the more stuff that you can find, this is the old book we used to use, and it has all the same topics in it. It's just another PDF file if you want another resource to look up stuff. These are problems from this book. I cut out just the optimization problems. This is one of the harder sections. It's in chapter 3. So rather than looking through the whole book, you can just go there. And these are trig identities also from that extra book, because there's much more of them you can see in this book than in our book. And so that's another place, because a lot of this is all going to be about practice. Trig identities, this is like a cheat sheet. It has, when you get to the chapter 6, or no, sorry, that's the one I clicked on. Not trig identities. That's the trig identities, is that one. Here's a algebra reference sheet if you're not sure about algebra formulas. So a lot of this comes like straight from like college algebra, subtraction algebra. So all sorts of different formulas. Really, these formulas right here where you're multiplying stuff, that's these rules right here. So if you're not sure of something and you want a quick reference, you can use that. What else do I have? I have my trig cheat sheet, which in the second half of the course, these are going to come in when you're doing those identity stuff. Is all this stuff in here, all these identity things that you're going to have to put together. So that's under that. What else do I have under here? You can, that might be an L. I can't remember if that's the right email. I'll have to double check that. But this is, you can get tutoring service on campus. I think they might even do a virtual version. Here's some study tips. These are just some videos from ASAP Science about how to study hacks, cramming for an exam anxiety, stuff like that. They're just there to kind of make these down. Now when you go into the rest of the course, we're going to go by weeks. So there's a 6-week course. It starts today and it goes to according to the hub, we go to the 3rd of July, which is a Sunday. So in the past, it's been Monday to Thursdays, right, with no Friday class. So I kind of have that in my head, but I don't set up the way. So when you click on week 1, if you click on the chapter in any one of the weeks, that'll take you to the online version of the chapter for the book. So you don't even need to download the book. You can just go to the week and it'll all be there. So click on that one. It will send you to the chapter. Oops. Let me make myself look like a student so that because otherwise I get all this editing stuff. All right, so you click on week 1, which is this week, or maybe you don't. Oh, there we go. All right, so then all of this stuff right here, where these links, this is me doing problems. So after you kind of read through it, if you want to watch these videos, I've stored them on a YouTube channel, well, my YouTube channel. So you just click on them, it'll pull up a video, and you can scroll through the intro, but it's just me doing problems from our book, different types of problems of, so it's just me talking. And so hopefully you can see some stuff. That doesn't mean that you can't go somewhere else. Like if you need to go to, use other sources, whatever it takes. But I do one for all the different sections. And then these are the first 7 quizzes for the first week. But what you'll notice is that I put a due date. The due date's not going to affect your grade. That's just kind of a way to enforce where you should be each week. But what you do have to be mindful is the starting and stopping time. So the 12th of June is technically the end of the first half of the semester. So the first 3 weeks are the first half of the semester, and then the second 3 weeks are the second half. And so what you're going to do is you're going to read this, go through these quizzes, do them each. They're not necessarily very long. Some of them are longer than others, and you can start them, go into the quizzes and go back to do each one. So this is this week's assignments, and try to get everything done but before Sunday, because I think I have everything is usually closed. Well, like I said, it doesn't close on the due date. It closes on, everything will close on June 12th for the first half. So that gives you some time. But these due dates, that's kind of where you should be. I should be done with these by May 29th, Sunday, I think it is. So that's kind of what you're looking at there for that kind of stuff. And then you go, now the second week of each half is usually the big week that has the most work. So you don't want to leave stuff. Like this one has chapter 2. Again, you just click on the chapters and it'll send you to the right chapter and you can look at stuff. So there's chapter 1, section 1 through 3. Those are the videos. And then you have 2 quizzes related to this stuff. And then what I've done is these are discussions. You watch this video, it's from a website called Veritasium, the math duel. And then you comment or make some comments and have a discussion about it with each other and me. I'll add stuff here and there into this is a discussion topic. This is something that those of us who are doing this, you're supposed to put in this. I put it in as extra credit. So if you don't do it, it's no big deal. But if you do it, I give you extra credit for participating in the discussion about the duel. And I think, yeah, so that's what it is. You watch the video. They're kind of cool videos. They're real. I showed them in class this semester, all these videos, and the students this semester seem to really like them. And it was easy in class because I just talked to them about it. But here, it's a way of getting extra credit. Then out of chapter section 1, you have the 2 quizzes that go with chapter 3, section 1, chapter 3, section 2, and then you have 4 videos, and then chapter 10's section 3 and section 1, and another video discussion. And I think there should be 2 quizzes. I'll have to look at this, but I don't know. I'll look at it again. That's weird. Oh, it says load more. That's why. There we go. Yeah, there's 2 quizzes for. Make sure you hit the load more like I missed there. Then you get the 2 quizzes for that one. Week 3, this is a big week because, well, big week in the sense there's not as much. There's like 3 quizzes, but they have to have the midterm done by the 14th. So this is when you start the midterm. So you want to get through all of this stuff and then get to the midterm. Then once you're done with that, you're done with the first half of the class, right? So then you start the second half. And the second half is you start with the end of chapter 3, and I have inverses and I don't know, ratios or something. I have a quiz here. Then we get into, this is a big chapter, chapter 4. I have a lot of stuff to watch, but I don't have that many quizzes, weirdly enough. I don't know why that is. Probably because everything up to chapter 4 is just a repetition of college algebra. So everything should be fairly familiar, except for the only thing that's new is in chapter 10 in this stuff. This is about parabolas and ellipses. It's pretty interesting stuff there. So, but yeah, when you get to 4, chapter 4 is on exponentials and logarithms, which hopefully you've done a little in college algebra, so you know what this is. And then chapter 5 is where you start the trig. And again, it's the second week of the second half. So this is the big week with lots of stuff. You have lots of chapter 5. You have another discussion where you get some extra credit. Then you have the quizzes that go with it, and there's a bunch. Then you start chapter 6, which is the graphing of trigs. So this is the trigs where trigonometry starts, is chapter 5. Chapter 6 is graphing. And there's 2 big extra credit assignments. The first one is kind of tricky. The second one is a little easier. It really doesn't take trig to do the second one. It really takes quadratic equation stuff, but it involves a little stuff with angles. So that's why I stuck it in that one. And then the 6th week will be, you have sections, chapter 7, and there's 2, these 2 are assignments, which means that you have to write them, download it, write it out, and then upload it. And I have it uploaded as a PDF, I believe, which you can do by the easiest way to do a PDF. Like say you've scanned something, like you have a picture or Word document or whatever, like this, like the syllabus, right? What you can do is say, go to File and then Print. And if you switch the print to save as a PDF, then you can save it as a PDF file like that. That's probably the easiest way to turn something into a PDF. And you can do it with anything. You do it with JPEGs and whatever. As long as you go to the print option, there should be a way to do that. So that's how you can do that one. And then, of course, this is the final exam. So it opens on the 29th and it ends at 11:30. I tried to set everything at 11:30 in the evening, open it fairly early, like in the morning. But you can see it goes 27th to the 1st. This one goes from the 29th to the 3rd. And you get, now the difference between the quizzes and the midterm and the final, there's a big difference between the two. The quizzes are open-ended. So in other words, you can start them, stop them, start them, stop them. There's no time limit on those, because even though they're called quizzes, they're really like homework assignments. And so they're for you they're graded homework assignments, but you can try them. If you get stuck, you can go to the book, you go to the video, maybe go to Khan Academy, whatever it takes. Come to, I'm going to start doing live office hours when I don't have meetings. We're just getting socked with meetings. I don't get it this year, but I'm going to do them at this time from 11 to 1. I could probably find a different time on different days, but 11 to 1 seems to be where I can hit the meetings and still do this. And so I will do live where you can ask questions and stuff, and we can go over things. And I'll try to do those most every day. I can't do it tomorrow. We have a big thing tomorrow, but Wednesday and Thursday I'll be on for. So hopefully you've read stuff, started the quizzes, and have some things to ask, and we'll go over whatever you want on those days. What else? So we have you have extra credit, you have quizzes, you have the tests, you have stuff to read. You can click on the chapters if you don't want to download the book. So like if you're on your phone and you're sitting, I don't know, sitting somewhere waiting, you can always just click on this and read it or whatever, and you can go from there. I think there's an app that you can download the book as well. So since it's a fully online asynchronous course, means you do it as you go. I'm going to try to be here for office hours to do help. So there's not going to be the typical lecture. This is the difference between a virtual class and an online asynchronous class. There's a subtle difference between them. So, but yeah, that's the way the course is going to work. I will send you emails occasionally on how things are going, but I tried to keep it, so that, like, even though these are due dates, they're not going to affect your grade if you miss them. So don't worry about that. What you don't want to do is let them all pile up so that on June 12th, you're trying to do them all at once and the midterm. So you want to do these. So you want to kind of keep up with the due dates so that you don't overwhelm yourself. Because that's one of the biggest problems with something like this is you wait to the last minute. I mean, I can cut these off so you can't see them, but now I'd rather you be a little flexible about getting everything done. And so they start up each week. So you can see, like, this week we'll have the 23rd, all these will open up. So you should be able to see all those now. And then in week 2, they start this week. This is one of these regs that I'm supposed to follow, that each week these things pop open. And so then next week you go into this one. So next week's kind of the big week. This is kind of a warm-up week, I guess, and then this has got a fair amount of stuff to do on it. And yeah, so that's kind of it. Is there any, so Andy, do you have any questions?
No, I'm fine, Professor.
Think you got it? Think you got what you need to do?
Yeah. So June 12th is all the quizzes due for the first half, right, of the semester?
Yeah, and the midterm.
All right. Yeah,
So,
no problem.
yeah. So you got 3 weeks to get the first half done, and then you got 3 weeks to get the second half done. Yeah.
And
It's a 6-week class.
Assignments in between that, right? Or no?
Yeah, you could. I mean, well, this is it. This is everything that's in Brightspace is everything you have to do.
All right, no problem.
Okay. So there's not going to be anything new. It's all there. It's all waiting for you. It'll pop up. So it's like the second week, May 30th, 6 a.m., you could open it up and start doing the quizzes if you wanted to, because that's when the second week stuff start. So it's like, try to stick it up that first week, do everything in the first week stuff this week, second week, do everything in that week, so that you have each week. And then if something happens where you get a little behind, that's when you have a little flexibility. The third week, of course, and the 6th week are always, there's kind of that hard deadline that you can't get around. The third week, if you really needed to, I could probably push it, but you don't want to do that because you're just going to get so much piled up on you that you're going to get overwhelmed. So stick with it, stay on track. Say, I got to do it. I know you're probably working and whatever, but so you got to make sure you, what I would do is I would go into something like an Excel file or something. If you want to be really anal, right? You go make a little chart down here of times of the day, days of the week, and put in where you work, and put in, I'm going to do math in these 3 hours, these 3 hours, these 3 hours, stuff like that. And just, set up your own time that fits you. Because that's one of the things that, if you watch this video here, this one on study tips, one of the things they say is to set up the same time of the day every day, and just make that irregular, because their brain gets into the mode that it's expecting to do that at a certain time. And so if you say, okay, I'm going to do this from 11 to 1, or if I'm going to do this from 4 to 6 or something like that, you block off like 2-hour periods every day, your brain will be ready to say, okay, it's time to do this. And you have a space where you have all your pencils and pens and your computer and the internet and blah, 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 get everything, so that you just sit down, you do it, and then walk away from it. And I think if you make that schedule, you'll be just fine. But that's the hard part, is you got to stick to the schedule. It's too easy to just let things slide. So, and the quizzes are 10 points each. And so sometimes they have the long ones will have 10 1-question multiple choice. Sometimes they'll only have 2 questions, so they're not intended to be long quizzes. They're just kind of to reinforce the stuff that you're reading and watching the videos and stuff like that. So, okay.
All right, no problem, Professor. Thank you.
All right, I guess we're good. So that explained everything, and you're the only one here, so you get to have all the questions. So,
All right, see you, Professor.
all right, have a good day.